A man is unjustly imprisoned and placed in a cell where any movement means death. In 1931, Paris was teeming with stories that could outshine any movie script. Pepone, a daring thief with more guts than brains, was at the center of one such escapade. After cracking open a safe filled with diamonds, he slipped out the window with feline grace and headed straight to a club where he handed the jackpot over to the French mafia boss. The boss, a guy who looked like he stepped right out of Chinatown, was pleased but left a classic reminder. "Cross me and you'll be the next big name." In the obituaries, as if that weren't enough, Pepone decided to show his romantic side by giving a stolen necklace to his love, Nanette, while confessing he'd kept a few diamonds for himself. Unfortunately, a mafioso witnessed the gesture, and the drama was just getting started. The next morning, Pepone was blindsided by detectives accusing him of killing a pimp. He knew it was a mafia setup since the real culprits were the polished gentlemen working for the boss. "No worries, I have an alibi. I was with Nanette all night," he thought. But when he met her in prison, he confessed that appealing to the court was pointless since the system was as crooked as a Dali painting. In a dramatic flourish, he told her to move on with her life, as his new mission. Escape would take time. A guy named Giulio overheard and said, "If you want to escape, you'll need a lot of cash, my friend." That's how Pepone ended up on a ship headed to the French Guiana penal colony, a place as welcoming as Dante's Inferno. On board, Giulio pointed out Louis Dega, a millionaire counterfeiter, and Pepone didn't waste time. "You need protection? I need money?" Dega refused, trusting the guards to do their job. That night, a prisoner was stabbed for his hidden cash. Dega quickly reconsidered the offer. Of course, Pepone made it clear the escape would be a solo act. But Dega's life was on the line when another inmate attacked him later. Pepone, now the unofficial bodyguard, stepped in but ended up tied up by the guards for his trouble. On arrival at the tropical prison, Paradise, the warden gave a cheery welcome. First the bullets, then the sharks. If you survive, there's solitary. Pepone wasted no time making connections to land a job in the infirmary. But the deputy warden, a secret fan of Dega, sabotaged the plan and sent both to the mines. Pepone then met Celier, a former sailor, who offered a boat if Pepone could escape. Meanwhile, Dega hilariously lost his portable safe in the bathroom, forcing Pepone to retrieve the cash. When Giulio attempted an escape and failed, the prison's medieval side came out. They executed him in front of everyone. The trauma pushed Dega to collapse, and Pepone impulsively knocked out a guard and ran for freedom, only to be betrayed by the infamous island pimp. The result? 2 years in solitary. In solitary, Pepone faced complete silence and darkness, but a human touch saved him. Coconuts sent by Dega, proving that even in hell, unlikely friendships could shine a light. And honestly, I'd never trust a pimp for an escape plan, but I would have considered teaming up with Celier and his boat. Who knows? Can you maintain sanity in solitary like Pepone did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Personally, I'd lose it in the first week. Anyway, back to the story. Pepone started exercising to keep his body and mind sharp. Everything was fine until a nosy guard found coconut water in his cell. The warden demanded to know who was supplying Pepone, but he refused to betray Dega. Months later, the warden tried to bribe him with a decent meal in exchange for information. Pepone fed the meal straight to the warden, asserting his principles. After this defiance, Pepone was thrown into complete darkness, where hallucinations and happy memories blended into a psychedelic cocktail. In a scene straight out of Shutter Island, he tried to open an imaginary safe, symbolizing his mental collapse. 2 years later, Pepone was dragged out unconscious, only to find Dega now working as the prison accountant. Dega admitted his wife had left him for their lawyer. Pepone, feigning insanity like a theater pro, hatched an escape plan while Dega, embarrassed, promised to help. The escape plan was nuts. Sedatives in the guard's coffee? Check. Seducing the bathroom guard? Not ideal but effective. Improvised weapons from bedposts? Absolutely. Everything went well until St. Peter himself intervened with torrential rain, forcing the fugitives to improvise. climbing a tower. After a series of misadventures, including carrying an injured Dega and dealing with a leaky boat, the escape fell apart. A fight ended with Celier being thrown overboard and Dega proving to be the friend no one knew they needed. Betrayed by a nun who clearly misunderstood repentance, Papone was sentenced to 5 more years in solitary. Surviving that deserves an Oscar for Best Dramatic Actor, but all he got was a transfer to the infamous Devil's Island. There, he found a barely recognizable Dega, still a loyal friend. When Papone revealed a coconut-based escape plan, yes, coconuts again, Dega chose to stay, believing he belonged there. Papone, now a master of daring leaps, launched himself into the sea on a raft and finally found freedom. Many prison scenes were filmed on Devil's Island itself, adding authenticity to the production. And let's be real, I'd never make Dega's emotional speech when faced with the guards. Emotional transparency is great, but not in prison. One fascinating aspect is Papone's transformation during his confinement. What started as an ordinary man turned into someone who used pain to rebuild his resolve. Now, check out this video where I explain a movie where all the water in the world disappears for 2 hours and has a mind-blowing plot twist at the end. I'll see you there.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect.